Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about the burgeoning scandal within the Department of Justice and the resignations of multiple high-level officials, all coming out of the instructions from the acting Deputy Attorney General to drop the case against Mayor Adams in New York. Now, the case itself, things have been laid out at length in an indictment returned by a grand jury showing six figures worth of improper gratuities and goodies that Adams took. It's complicated in and of itself. It has to do with Turkey. It has to do with before his term, but that really doesn't matter here because the huge headline is that in ordering them to drop the case, Deputy Attorney General Bove says, I have not in any way based this on the evidence in the case or any legal theories. In other words, not the facts and not the law, not the absolute constitutive elements of any prosecution or dismissal by the Department of Justice. It's amazing that he said that, but probably it's a forced move in a sense because there is no reason. What they've given is really tawdry, inappropriate reasons like Adams, we need him to work with us on immigration so he can't be indicted. Somehow it's a distraction. Complete non sequitur. And actually, in the letters, which I'm going to get to, you have the acting U.S. attorney saying that Adams's lawyers essentially offered a quid pro quo. I'll really play ball with Trump on your immigration stuff if you dismiss these charges. So that is nothing. And then an indication from the Deputy Attorney General, this I think is where he's going to try to hang his hat, that the charges against Adams were quote unquote weaponized, meaning essentially brought for political reasons and without regard to facts and law. But he specifically says, I haven't thought about the facts and law. Let me take a step back and just give you the sort of what's happening here because it's big. It is not quite Saturday Night Massacre level, maybe not quite the level at the end of the first Trump administration where the acting attorney general says if you do this bogus move with Georgia that you're having your lackey, Jeff Clark, become the acting attorney general to do, everyone's going to resign on you. But it is close, and they are in serious hot water. And the biggest point is the wound is not staunched. It's happening as we speak. Okay. So Bove orders the dismissal of the charges, and it's definitely something Trump has talked about, toyed with. It may or may not be a direct order from him. It doesn't really matter. It's Bove thinking he's effectuating his views. So he orders the Southern District of New York, this is something deputies do, to dismiss the charges against Mayor Adams and gives a letter that admits stunningly that it's got nothing to do with the facts and the law. Now we have a period of silence when a number of people, including me, were saying, this may well be an improper kind of order to the acting U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, and you may find that she'll resign before carrying it out. And that is exactly, well, it's very close to what happened. Let me tell you about the acting U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. Really an unfortunate choice for Bove. She is a solidly credentialed conservative. It's why they put her in. She clerked for Scalia and Harvey Wilkinson, who is the best conservative clerkship at the time on the Court of Appeals. She's got Federalist Society and all that stuff completely there. Again, that's why they put her in, but it's more than that. She's been there since 2016 and absolutely created a great reputation for herself, including taking a lead, maybe the lead in the Sam Bankman-Fried prosecution where she cross-examines him. She is very solid, and sure enough, she writes a letter to the Attorney General, who doesn't answer it. Interesting in and of itself. But she writes a letter to the Attorney General saying, we've received an order from the Deputy Attorney General to dismiss this case. We can't dismiss this case. The memo, which directs me to dismiss an indictment returned by a duly constituted grand jury for reasons having nothing to do with the strength of the case. And that's the big point here. That is the absolute DNA, heart and soul of what the DOJ does. Raises serious concerns that make the contemplated dismissal, one, inconsistent with my ability and duty to prosecute federal crimes without fear or favor and to advance good faith arguments before the court. I can't do this. I can't go in front of the court under the law you're telling me and give good faith arguments to dismiss when I know that the charges against this guy are solid. I can't stand up and say that. She writes this to the Attorney General. The Attorney General doesn't say boo, instead gives it to the Deputy Attorney General. The Deputy Attorney General, I think, unwisely writes a long letter that basically takes her to task, says, you are not complying with our political directives. So first, she says at the end of it, please, let's think this over again. I'd like to meet with you. In the event you don't want to meet, I am prepared to offer my resignation, but obviously is saying, let's talk. I'm not looking at this moment to resign. Here's what the Deputy Attorney General says. First, your resignation is accepted. So, that's not exactly what she said, but it's where he goes. This decision is based on your choice to continue pursuing a politically motivated prosecution despite an express instruction to dismiss the case. Excuse me, how do we know that it's politically motivated? Wouldn't that normally be a question of what are the facts and the law? Is it a righteous case or is it politically motivated? And politically motivated certainly implies it's not a solid case on the facts of the law. You lost sight. Man, oh man, this is the Deputy Attorney General talking to the acting U.S. Attorney from the SDNY and absolutely humiliating her. You lost sight of the oath that you took when you started the Department of Justice by suggesting that you retain discretion to interpret the Constitution in a manner inconsistent with a democratically elected president, who before he came in had nothing to do with interfering with the DOJ, and a Senate-confirmed Attorney General. And by the way, you tell us your team agrees. Guess what? They're on leave. Okay, I'm first giving you the state of play because he does that. She resigns rather than carried out. But he then, one of the things he does in his letter is, I'm pulling this case back to Main Justice. You guys are out. I'll put it to Main Justice and I'll give the order. Little bit of a problem, though. Two really big, not quite Attorney General level, but really high level. The acting Attorney General for the entire criminal division. Remember Jeff Clark? He was acting Attorney General for environment. This is the guy who's in charge of the criminal division. Now, the deputy still tells him what to do, but this is a big job. He's resigned rather than carry this out. And the person who's in charge of public integrity, the whole public corruption practice of the Department of Justice, he's now resigned. And that puts it in Saturday Night Massacre levels, really big officials resigning, except there it was pretty well understood. Robert Bork, being Robert Bork, takes a lot of heat for this historically. But it's understood that the deputy and the attorney general at the time, Elliot Richardson, William Ruckelshaus, said, Bob Bork, you're going to have to do this because otherwise we'll just keep going and going and going and talk about a crisis for DOJ. Well, here they're going and going and they don't have the person yet. And whoever, by the way, they choose, first and foremost, is like a huge quisling traitor. That word's come up a little bit lately, but that comes from World War II, and I think it's Denmark, whatever. The guy, that was his name, and who saluted and did the Nazis' bidding. So whoever takes this on is going to be a major quisling in the department and probably go down in infamy. And two, it's not a matter of just signing a piece of paper because it's got to go, this motion to dismiss, under Rule 48 in front of a court. And that court, by the way, the one that has the Adams case, There's a Biden appointee, James Ho, a former ACLU lawyer, who has going to have a few questions, and the department's going to have some splaining to do, including potentially Bove himself, who will be called on the carpet. This is not over, and it's not even over within the Department of Justice, because they've got to find a person, even goes all the way down to, the secretary in the Attorney General's office. They're going to have to find someone who will go in and file this motion, and there's still going to be big trouble. So these three big jobs leaving the department, rather than, it absolutely underscores you are telling us to do something illegal. And it's not just illegal, that's pretty bad, but completely against, anathema to the whole DNA of the Department of Justice. You're telling us to dismiss a case without regard to the facts and the law. That is what we do here. It's what we have always done here, and you are just completely pulling out the rug from under it. Now, what the deputy is trying to say in his letter is, well, if it were weaponized, you might dismiss it, and we've determined, the president has determined it's weaponized. Based on what exactly? Nothing. They've never had anything. There's always a lie in the middle of this. Weaponized would basically mean that he was a political target, and they didn't have the facts and the law, which they have both. And by the way, it's augmented. They have more new facts that show that he probably, this is Adams, obstructed justice. So this is a righteous case. So in saying you must accept it's weaponized, that's completely Orwellian. That's saying you must accept that the sun is shining at midnight. It just isn't. That's a fact. And lawyers have duties of candor to the court. And if they go up and say it's weaponized, they're lying to the court. Now, they could try to say, well, the president says blah, 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 but that ain't going to happen, or it ain't going to satisfy Judge Ho, I predict. And there's going to be real pushing. What happened here? What's the basis? How can you tell me I can dismiss under the standards in this rule, etc.? This is not over, and it's super ugly. It's like an open, bleeding sore. And for now, although he's just the henchman, it goes right to Emil Bove, who, by the way, used to be in this office and did as prosecutors are supposed to do, including on January 6th. He followed the facts and the law, and he is now in the center. He's doing the dirty work, and it is way dirty. And what makes it dirty, I just want to say this again and again and again, because this is the public fight, is that there is no basis in facts or law. They haven't done anything to contradict that Adams did it, and that he is guilty under the law, and that this is a good, righteous case. It's just really, when you push on it, it's just Trump having, it's not even that he's really concluded it, but he likes the idea of saying, oh, Democrats are politicized too. That's how nasty this Department of Justice was under Biden and Merrick Garland. Total crap, total bullshit. And Bondi has endorsed it. She comes in the first day and says, this is now over. Our shameful scandal is finished. Total crap. Again, doesn't name a single case in which the department hasn't done what the department does, which is follow the facts and the law. So the lines are really drawn here. And on one side are the good guys, because they're following the facts and law. And they've had some very serious resignations on their hand. It may be done for the day. It's now Thursday night, and they'll keep looking. They'll find someone, but that someone has got a really ugly road to hoe, as it were, when they go before Judge Ho and try to explain what's happening. Man, oh man, this is a black eye, and it ain't going away. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.